Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us. I'm Pastor Rosemary, and this is your weekly angelic transmission horoscope for the week of Sunday the 25th through 31st, which is a Saturday, bringing us to round up this month. It's been a little bit of a hectic month, and people have gotten a little bit testy, and it's going to be a little bit like that again this week, but not quite as bad. This is going to be a week when Pisces is going to get along well with Cancer, but not so good with Scorpio. Also, towards the end of the week, fire signs are going to find that they get along better with air signs, especially between Gemini and Leo will be getting along much better. So that'll help quite a bit. This is going to be a week when people are going to be focusing on what is going to give them inspiration, because when people don't have enough of what they want, they tend to get discouraged and give up. And when people have, too much given to them, become spoiled, quite frankly. They get to the point where nothing inspires them because everything comes so easy. There's no way to have inspiration because there's nothing to create the angst necessary for creativity. It's also going to be a week where the argument about what is better, chaos or order, is going to come into a very good debate. But the debate, yes, it will be good because it will be, there's a lot of squares this this week, and it'll be better than the oppositions that have been going on. It'll be, again, more of a disciplined competition regarding these two issues of chaos and order, rather than just saying, just bad-mouthing each other. It'll be more, okay, we're going to do this, and then we're going to do this, we're going to have this debate, and we're going to have this forum, and we're going to have this debate, and all of this, like a panel. And that's going to cause, though, some double-crossing again. However, the double-crossing will be obvious, because double-crossing is not so much due to anybody trying to actually cause betrayal. That's not really the issue. The issue is burying things in such a way that someone can have the happiness of finding the answer. So it's like having an aha moment. Like, oh, I see. And it's not really in those aha moments that we are there. It's more in the searching for the aha moments when we're there. Because it's in the effort. That's why it doesn't really matter what anybody does this week. It matters that a person puts the effort in. And people say, well, are you doing it for yourself or are you doing it for others? When one sees the difference between oneself and the others, then that person is in a state of double mind where they are not a monad. And at that point, that's idolatry. Believing that there is anything but God's permutation, which is one, is idolatry. Believing that anything could possibly not be ultimately for good. And as long as we cooperate with the good, knowing the good, then we're not in any form of idolatry. Because idolatry is not about works of art. or the obscene weapons to destroy them. Idolatry is when you believe there's anything that opposes God Almighty, because nothing can. How could it? So that's the debates that are going to go on this week. And chaos versus order is going to be found to be, as long as it's put in its place, because chaos has to happen prior to order. When people are doing tarot cards, for example, or playing poker or whatever, they have to shuffle and then place. Chaos, order. It's very simple. One has to have a rolling of the dice, or everything just becomes boring if there's no chaos. But if there's no order, then everything just becomes unable to be anchored into this reality. So the squares that are going to occur are going to, like Luna square Pluto on the 25th, on Sunday, that's going to cause people to be able to find order. Just like orderly warfare, for example, or noble warfare, or noble combat with rules, can be said to be better than combat without any rules, or just guerrilla warfare. And a case can be made for both, because when there's rules, the rules are not really fair usually. Rules are made by the victors. Therefore, if they're made by the victors and the history is written by the victors, then that's not really going to be fair. So if people want fairness, they have to be willing to actually look at how fair they're willing to be. And ultimately, again, we have to remind ourselves this week, there is no such thing as an external enemy, no matter what, because everything we see outside of ourselves is a projection of our inner universe. We're anchoring in the moment whatever we're focusing on. We're anchoring into the physical world. But if we realize that every single thing we see out there that we think is an enemy, we understand we're projecting it, and it's reflecting it to us what we think, then, or what we feel, then we understand that if we change our perspective, or we look at a different angle, a different facet, then we understand it's just a different aspect of ourself, and we can make peace with it, or have it come to a better outcome. That's going to be helpful to remember. And people aren't doing things because they're trying to be cruel. People are doing things, we all do things when we get, for various reasons, obviously, but there's something very important here. Neuroassociations that's taught in NeuroLinguistic Programming. As far back as I can remember, studying people from, the 30s and the 40s, reading books from my grandparents. Those kind of things are from NeuroLinguistic Programming. And those things, neuroassociations cause people to have a good or bad or over-the-top reaction to something. So if somebody is just completely innocent and doing their best, but yet somebody has either a very positive or a very negative reaction, or middle of the road for that matter, whatever reaction a person has is dictated by their neuroassociations from NeuroLinguistic Programming. And that causes people to behave in a seemingly irrational manner. And can that be cleared? Yes, it can be cleared. And it can be cleared with something called palm therapy by, that's a book by Moshe Zhuang, which is not just palm reading, but palm therapy, where you can change the life by changing the hand, and your hand can be changed. So Moshe Zhuang is called palm therapy. It's an extremely important book. And of course, things can be associated, like various planets on the hand can be associated with different saints or different angels, all of that. Everything can be made to fit into people's cultures and people's religious systems. And there's nothing evil about palmistry, for example, because, for example, people who study medicine, they know that a person who has a crease in their earlobe has a higher chance for developing heart disease. And that's because when the body's forming in the womb, it forms through various on-off switches genetically, and that's a marker for that. And the hands are just the same. The hands are just you, very exposed, which is why they're saying it's evil, because maybe they don't want you to know how easy it is to read all of this. So to say it's evil, then you all need to then put away all your medical books. If palmistry is evil, then so are medical books. So that should clear that up. However, this is a week again for practical debate. Fairness is simply people, again, wanting people to be fair with them. But if we understand that everybody who seems to be our opposite, or in some difficult opposition rather than good opposition, but a difficult one, when it feels bad, it's an aspect of ourselves we have to work out. And of course, everybody judges everything or discerns, and we don't have to get caught up in words. But the words we choose will determine how we feel. But the words we choose don't matter. It doesn't matter how somebody else says that word should be used, because it matters what it means to you. Whatever it means to you can make you feel good or bad. If saying I'm starving makes you feel good, then great. If saying I'm starving makes you feel bad, then don't use it. But if it makes you feel good, use it. It depends on what makes you more healthy and more productive. That's the message and the theme that the angels Israfil and Camael and Mikha'il are giving this week in Jibrail. That's what messages are being given this week. So, again, if you have concerns about dream interpretation, for example, you're going to be finding that you're going to be having a lot of bleeding of dreams into reality, more than you ever have before. The lucid time between sleep and wakefulness, when you're in that lucid state between where you can make things happen, you're going to find that things are going to be seem magical and scary, because we could actually manifest just like that, all of us. But we're also frightened of the negative aspects. We're afraid to, so we don't want to. But that's going to be happening whether you want it to or not, and it's part of the dreaming sequence and the waves of the brain and alpha and beta and delta. It's that you go through every night and come out of every day. So you're going to be having these kinds of experiences, and they're going to be a little scary. So what you need to do is remain calm and don't try to control it. Because if you try to control it, that's the lust for results. And when you try to control it, then you're not going to be able to get what you want. You'll get what you don't want. Because if you try to control it, that means you doubt. And if you doubt, you won't get what you want. You only get what you want when you're sure. So be certain that we are able to manifest and change our reality, not with our mind, but what comes as a unity between all of our chakras when they're all lit up like a Christmas tree, when all the chakras are lit up like a Christmas tree. Then you become the Christos, or the Christ, or the Anointed One. Because it's an inner journey. Yes, we want Christ, our Savior, on the outside to come in and save us. Christ is within us. And if we don't find the Christ within, you'll never find the Christ without. Thank you for joining us. This is Pastor Rosemary, and join us again next week.